Welcome to Beyond the Statement, the Diversity and Inclusion Commitment Mini Workshop Series. This workshop is one of my favorite topics. I know every workshop you all are saying, he says that's his favorite topic, or this is his favorite topic. This is one of my favorite ones because it involves one of my favorite hobbies, reading. In this workshop, we will focus on what should I be reading. It is imperative that you're consistently reading individually and as an organization. As always, a quick disclaimer, my statements and opinions are my own. Our goal for this workshop, every workshop has a goal. At the end of the workshop, you should be able to say, great, we met that goal, we understand it. Think about the overarching goal concept. I've been saying goal, goal, goal. Earlier, you wrote out goals. Think about it. When I write out a goal, I can actually assess whether I met the goal. What's a good goal? Not just a fluffy goal. So start to think about it. Our goal for this workshop is to provide you with specific materials to expand your knowledge base. That's it. At the end, let's see if I provided you with specific materials to expand your knowledge base and your organization's knowledge base. Remember, there's some individual work, there's some organizational work. We're in this together. I got a question for you. Think about this individually and organizationally. What were the last 3 books you read individually? Take a moment, write them down. What were the last 3 books you read as an organization? Thinking about group studies, your book studies. And take a couple moments. You can pause the video as you think about them. Some of you are like, I remember the last 3. Boom, boom, boom. Some watching this video are saying, books. I haven't read a book since I graduated. Some of you are saying, organizationally. What the heck? We don't read books in our organization? It tells a lot about your organization and your culture. Now, think about those 3 books individually and 3 books organizationally. For some, it may be the same books, which is fine. Looking at your book list and the authors, determine if it was authored by a person of color. Diversity, inclusion, access, and equity books do not count. It's a reason. You'll find out a little bit later that reason, but they don't count. The last 3 books you read individually, last 3 books you read as an organization, who were they authored by? Now you're probably saying, all right, Chris, this was a good book. I don't know why you're worried about who's writing the book. It's all based upon the narratives that have been posited into you and by who. While you may say it's just a book, it's a good read, the content is perfect, but that author has his or her lived experience, which produces a bias that is written within their materials. When you're only reading books from certain authors, I want to say certain authors from a certain demographic of authors, you're going to get a specific lens. A lot of times, especially organizationally, we're going to do a book study. We're going to work together as a team. We're going to build this organization. We're going to read these books by the Jim Rohns and the Tony Robbins and these other great leaders, Bill Gates. We're going to read the Steve Jobs book, Jeff Bezos, these great leaders, and what they've accomplished as an organization is we're going to try to mimic it and they have some good content and they're rich. You don't realize those authors I just named, they're great authors. They have some great materials. Bunch of old white guys. You're reading books through their narrative and through their lens. If you care about diversity and inclusion as an organizational leader, you need to diversify who's going into your organization's mindset. Who is going into your mindset? Thus, it is important that everyone analyzes what are you reading. It shows a lot about who you are as a person, a lot about who you are as an organization. We can't keep doing the same things and expecting different results. I'm in a group study right now as this video is being made. The book we're reading, it's a decent book on teamwork written by a white male. Could we not have picked another author, probably a woman author. Just think about it. Think about it. I'm gonna give you a personal story. It's perfect time. I'm pausing. I'm thinking. These workshops, if you have not noticed, they're authentic. It's not, hey, I'm gonna read from a script. No, these are authentic. In the state of Florida, they came out this Sunshine State Readers List. Within the list, there are about 20 books. I went through and counted. There's one Black female. There may be one other person of color. And the reason I said there may be one other, I could not verify. I did a lot of searches. I was not 100%. But for the sake of argument, we're going to say 2 of the books on the list were written by authors of color. We're going to say 2 out of 20. Think about that. These Sunshine State Readers Lists are what students read throughout the state of Florida. They get awards. It's a big deal. Whose mindset has been posited into our students? Whose narrative experiences? And for the record, the white authors weren't writing about culturally relevant experiences. So we have students are going to read 18 books. They're going to posit a certain dominant lens into their mindsets. Then you're going to say, well, Chris, these are, those great books. They've won awards. I get that. Let me show you from a business structure. And a leader, I actually sent an email to the organization that created the list. And the email went over their heads. And this is essentially what the email said and what I'm positing to you. You pick this group of books, 20 books. These authors are going to, because you pick their books, some of them have already won awards. Some of them, because you pick their book, it's going to give it more notoriety. They're going to win awards. Also, those authors are positing their beliefs, their mindsets into the students. At this point in my email and with the conversation, they were like, not even getting. They're just like, Chris, they're just good books. They're good stories. Thinking about the stories that have been told, with them not considering culturally relevance, there's some things that students literally cannot even make sense of, not even feel like I'm a part of the story. Then, I told you all, when you think about diversity and inclusion, I think about the money. A lot of people are like, Chris, it's not just about the money, it is about the money, because organizationally, you care about the money. With these books, these 20 books, these authors, if think about it, every student in the state of Florida gets this list based upon their grade level. You've put 20 authors on this list. Students are going to buy them. Parents are going to buy the books. They're going to read them. They're going to have book studies. One school I know for a fact sent out a book study that's going to happen in the fall for back to school. As people buy the books, guess what? You're going to make the authors more money. When the author makes more money, there's obviously more sales. The publisher is going to look back and say, wow, this book is selling through the roof. We need to give this author another opportunity. 2 things have happened to that author. A, and some people say, well, Chris, the percentages of book deals are not great. Money is money. So when that author is getting better sales, they're making more money. That money can be better used within his or her community, within his or her family. You're changing their economics. You're changing the economics within their household. Also, with that little list, that arbitrary, it's kind of arbitrary, Chris. We put a lot of thought. They're going to get bestsellers. They're going to rise the rank in sales within the publisher. They're going to call them again. We want to publish another one of your books. That's why everything has to be critical. A lot of people just see that book list, Chris, is just a list. It matters in so many different facets that we do not think about. And I said this directly to the organization that pushed the list. They're like, well, we don't look at their book sales and et cetera, et cetera. We just pick the best books. Yeah, you may be picking some good books, but you're not thinking bigger picture, how you're affecting a bigger system. As educators, that's why I love to take teachers through similar processes so they can see small decisions have far-reaching impacts. You have to be cognizant in every move you make with diversity and inclusion. I did not say you have to be perfect. You need to be cognizant and make good decisions. Oh, and for the record, that organization that creates this list, matter of fact, I'm popping them up on the screen. The organization that creates this list, you look at their organization's administrative team, guess what? No diversity whatsoever. They're perpetuating the cycle. And the bigger implication, the power within that organization to put out certain narratives of what students should be doing is detrimentally impacting students. But if they focus on diversity and inclusion within their organization, guess what? They have different minds at the table. They can have a better mindset. As they're picking something simple as a book for students to read, they would better think about the cultural narratives that can be posited within those students. We have to think beyond just doing stuff for the sake of doing it. Now, you're saying, Chris, you told me in the beginning, what should I be reading? I'm thinking about these leadership books that I've read. They've been such a great help to me. I know they've been a great help to you, but still you can diversify who you're reading to diversify your mindset and your lens. A couple of recommended books for leaders outside of the norm, because the norm you're expecting, Chris is going to give me these great books that say on the cover, diversity and inclusion teamwork, diversity and inclusion this. I'm not. What I'm trying to do is help you build individually and organizationally and get you outside of your comfort zone. These books are just to get you started, because some are like, I have no idea what I should be reading and what I should be doing. I'm going to give you a couple of books, and I'm going to give you a leadership book, traditional leadership book, so people can't say, oh, he didn't give me that leadership book that my executives love to read every year at the conference we go to. I'm going to give you one. Here are a couple of books, and they're not in an order. So some are like, he gave us to us in 1, 2, 3, 4. They're not in the order. The first book, How to Be an Anti-Racist by Ibram X. Kendi. This book right now in June 2020 is hot. He posits you're either racist or anti-racist. Highly recommended book. And these books can be read individually and organizationally. Stop being afraid to have critical discussions within your organization. It's great that you're having them individually in the privacy of my home. These are the things you need to talk about organizationally. Not just the 10 ways to sell a product, or the 10 things students need to know, or the back to school strategies. Let's get out of that. We've been doing that forever. Time to get a little bit better. Another book, White Fragility by Robin DiAngelo. Within that book is, just as the title states, helps white people deal with white people. I think that's the simplest way to put it. And a lot of you are like, he keeps saying the word white and black. I don't like those terms. I don't see color. Everybody sees color. When you don't see color, that's part of the problem. Stop being afraid to use terms. That is another book for you all to read individually and organizationally. Think about it. You're educators. Get out of the mindset, I'm a leader. I read leadership books only because I'm trying to climb. Get out of that mindset. Get in the mindset, I need good educational books that can build me and my organization. The next one, Culturally Responsive Teaching and the Brain by Zaretta Hammond. This is an excellent book. Every educator should be reading this book. What I like about these books, the title tells you essentially the meat of it. Culturally responsive teaching is extremely important, especially when it relates to diversity and inclusion. You need to understand it, because ultimately the decisions you make impact students. A lot of organizational leaders, some have never taught. Let's be honest. Some have never been in a classroom in 20 years. With that being said, at the very least, make concerted efforts. First, just get in the classroom. Start volunteering an hour a week in the classroom. But second, you need to put yourself in the lens of the teachers who are in day-to-day operation with the students, so you can better make decisions. Culturally Responsive Teaching the Brain, great book. Now, I told you I'm going to give you an organizational book. The One Thing by Gary Keller. This is a leadership book. It's a great book, though. It helps you consider what is going to be your one thing that you're going to do. A lot of times we especially in that leadership mindset, we focus on, I want to do 50 things. What is that one thing and just going to be great at it? Those 4 books will get you started on your journey. There's another book. I was going to put it in this workshop. I'm saving it to the last workshop. It is by far my favorite book and highly recommended book. You got it. But in the next workshop, I'll tell you what it is. That is the one book everyone in the universe should read. And you're like, Chris, give it to, nope. Watch the next workshop. I'll give you the next book. But those 4 books will get you started individually and organizationally. Now, I believe a lot of times in education, we talk about this whole child development. You know, it's not just about the student and the content, this whole child. The same thing with diversity and inclusion, especially for leaders. I don't want to just help you individually. I don't want to just help you as an organization. I want to help the whole person. If you have a family, Naomi OBrien and Lanisha Tab have created a family racism guidebook. They've created 3 different books. The White Family's Guide for Talking About Racism. How can we grow to be anti-racist? Another book, The Black Family's Guide for Talking About Racism. You Matter So Much. And another book, The People of Color, POC, Family's Guide for Talking About Racism. How can we grow to be anti-racist? With these books, everyone always asks them, which book should I get based upon who I am? Here's a resource guide that they posted to help you determine which book. And they also put a little disclaimer about the books, their purpose. They have not written a book for every single scenario. What I like about these 2 amazing authors, for them to say we have not written a book for every scenario based upon their experiences, that shows a lot about who they are as authors. Some authors do this. I can write about anything, everything. I'm the jack of all trades. And most of their products are subpar. As opposed to looking at what are you really good at and digging deep and understanding there's some things that are not in your lane. That's what great authors do. And I'm highlighting Naomi OBrien and Lanisha Tab in their work. Oh, I'm going a step further. How to get their books. You go to educationwithanapron.com, www, type it in. When you get on her website, you're going to click shop, educational resources, and then scroll down, you'll see the 3 books. They're PDF files. This is from me. Respect their intellectual property. If you're ordering one, that one is for you. If you're an organization, I highly recommend, this is, when you're thinking about what should I get people within my organization, I think this is a good buy. If you're looking for an organizational group buy, contact her directly and figure out, what are the logistics behind, hey, I want to order 50 copies. Because with the website, you can click one at a time. But if you want to order 50 copies, figure out a license agreement with her. And that'd be great for your organization. And a lot of people are like, well, Chris, these are family related books. We don't get into that. Think about what is happening. If you truly know, I'll give you a better one. If you truly know who's working within your organization, under your purview, you know them. Guess what? When you buy those happy birthday cards and congratulations cards, I'm going to buy you some flowers. Do y'all buy flowers? I think they do buy flowers and stuff in organizations. I'm going to buy you a book. This is a great leadership book. This book goes beyond a great leadership book because it can help their family. Check them out. Understand also, when it comes to books, one of the reasons a lot of people are like, Chris, you just gave us some great materials. Thank you. I'm actually hesitant to provide books. The reason being, I respect those who have come before us in terms of authorship, who have not gotten the proper notoriety, but a lot of newer authors just pull from their work. When I'm trying to find books to suggest to others, I try my hardest to find authentic works, also works that pay homage to those that came before them. A lot of books out there, literally, you read them, they've taken someone else's work and modernize it and then give them credit. I try to truly pick books that give those who come before them credit, because it's big. What happens with all this diversity and inclusion? I'm working with the organizational leader right now. And they're trying to look to me for solutions within their organization. And I'm fairly new to this particular organization in terms of this work. And I'm saying to them, because I know this to be a fact, in this role that you've had, people have told you things that you need to be doing for years. Stop looking to me to retell you those things or tell you some new things. Address the things that you know that people have told you consistently through the years, as opposed to, all right, Chris, where do I start? And I say that because that's not fair to your organization and those have been coming to you and trying to get things done. I have some great ideas. I can push you forward, but I'm also going to be respectful and pay homage to those who have come before me in bringing the same things to light to you. I just tell that story because it relates to the readings. It just relates to this whole diversity and inclusion piece. Too many people are going to come into your organization. Hey, let's do some diversity and inclusion work. They don't have the background to even do it. They just started because it's a hot topic. And there are a lot of people that have literally been doing this work for decades. In the very first workshop, I discussed, it depends upon which version of the first workshop you saw. I did a live version and a recorded version. The live version, if you saw it live on the first day, you heard this. If you did not, I'm putting it in this video purposely. I pay homage to everyone who has came before me in this diversity and inclusion work. I am purposeful when I say thank you to them. I am purposeful that this workshop series was not designed for me to, hey, call me. You've never heard me say, call me later to do diversity and inclusion work within your organization. You're watching these and you're probably saying, he hasn't told us about the bigger class to take or the book he's selling. I'm not. I'm giving you many things to get you started. In the same token, I'm trying to pay homage to those who have come before me and done the work. All these leadership books that you're reading, the things that you're doing within your organization, we need to pay homage to others who have been doing this work for years. There's some people who have literally dedicated their lives and been looked over, especially as it relates to other authors of color, especially as it relates to employees of color. This mini workshop series is designed for us to, at the very least, do better going forth. With those reading materials, don't just read them for the sake of reading them, act upon them. And you're probably like, well, Chris, you just told us to read these books and get together and have discussion. I did. But I'm also going to tell you to act. Don't spend years reading material. Act. Every time in these workshops you've gotten homework, I want you to act. Yes, you need to build your knowledge base, but you need to get off your butt and act. Get off your butt and put forth policies and initiatives. Get up and do something. And if you don't know what to do, identify the people of color within your organization that have been doing the work, and don't get in the work to say, hey, tell me what to do, I'm going to do it. Get behind them and support them and let them lead the way. What's happening now in this diversity and inclusion work, everybody's pulling bits and pieces and I'm going to do it on my own. People have been doing this. Get behind them, support them in what they're doing. And that's how we can get this thing going forward. It's not about, I know you're a leader. It's not about you. A great leader knows how to use his or her members of their team to make things better. All right, homework. Because I'm getting riled up and you know I take this seriously. Because I know what comes with the work. I know what can be done as far as there are no limitations. But I know most importantly, the impacts on our students. Homework. Individually, I want you to identify and read a book about a person of color, especially kids. That's who we serve, kids. Just being human. Then have a discussion with the family member. Get out of, I'm not saying don't read books about, all the things that have happened to people of color. Read something about them being skateboarding. Read something about them having fun as a family. I got this idea from Nick Stone. She wrote an amazing article. Matter of fact, let's post it on the screen. She wrote this amazing article to really get you to think. Understand, both are important. Yes, you need to read about the things that have happened detrimentally, but you also need to read about just who are they as a people? we have to get out of our comfort zones and learn something new. And that is your individual homework. And to have, you're having that discussion, because that discussion can become uncomfortable, especially that racist aunt that you hate to talk to. Or it could be a parent. Nick Stone, she makes, in that article, I'm not even going to paraphrase, read the article, but she just makes some great things to talk about. I think she does just an amazing job. I'm usually not at a loss for words for that article. I am, just because it hits home into what is being posited into your mindsets about people who do not look like you. And that's on both sides. Organizationally, review your authorship teams, formal and informal. What do I mean? Anything that is written is authored. Whether it's a product, whether it's curriculums, whether it's planning and pacing guides, whether it's policies and initiatives, simple thing to do. Diversify your authorship teams. If, as a leader, you have control over who is, Chris, that's not in my department. Push whoever's department it is in to diversify. When you start to diversify and put different voices into your materials, you create better materials. That's whether you're in a K-12 setting or whether you're in an organizational setting with corporate materials coming out. Diversify your authorship teams. I'm done. I'm out. Great workshop. Thank you all for tuning in. Another workshop is coming up. Diversify. Diversity and inclusion. Do you really care about it? Or you just watching these workshops and having a good time? If you're watching these workshops and having a good time, you wasted your time. Act now. Stop waiting until tomorrow. Act now. This has been your boy, Dr. Christopher J. Child. See you on the next workshop.